Hey there everyone, it's me Kat from Ideas, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make your very own custom thumbnails. I'm going to be using Photoshop, but if you don't have Photoshop, you can use a website called pixlr.com. I have a separate video on that and it will be linked in the description below so that you can check that out for yourself. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first thing you have to do is go in Photoshop, and on the top left corner you can see File and click on New, and now you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Thumbnail, and you have to make sure that the width is 1280 and the height is 720. So you can leave the resolution as it is and leave everything as it is except for the content. You have to keep it transparent and click on OK. So it's going to create a platform where you can do all your editing. Now for your background, you can always double click here, choose whichever color you want, click OK, take the square tool and then just draw like this so that you get your background, then add some gradients or something like that. But what I find the best is going into Google Images and searching for a specific background. Now here I have cinematic stage curtains, that's for a specific video that's coming up, and I'm going to select one. I like this one right here, so I'm going to click on View Image, right click, Save Image As, and then I'm going to save it as it is. Click Save and it's going to download. Then you have to go back into Photoshop, click on File and Open, and here I'm going to search for that image and it's right here. So I'm going to click on that, then click on the Move tool here, drag it and bring it into here. I'm going to enlarge it. So I'm going to align this correctly, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that that layer is selected, layer 2, as you can see here. And then I'm going to press Ctrl T, and you can see these little anchor points on the corners and as well as in the center. So I'm going to hold Shift and then drag these. So when I'm holding Shift, all the proportions are the same and nothing goes out like this or something like that. So I'm going to position it correctly. Yeah, that looks good. And then I'm going to press this check mark right here. So that is now done. Now personally I think it's a bit dull, so I'm going to click on Ctrl L, and here I have some options. I can adjust the contrast. I'm going to do a bit of tweaking. Yeah, that looks good, and click OK. Now the second thing I have to do is right click on the layer, the blending options, and then this window pops up. Now what I usually do is I add a color overlay and double click on the color here to get this thing, and I set it to black. My black's code is 000, and then I click OK. I keep the opacity just down a bit so that the text really pops up when I add it, and then I click on OK. So now as you can see, it's a bit darker, and so the text really stands out more when I add it. Now you can always go into the Filter tab and add a blur and something like that. I usually add a motion blur, but in this I will not add it, so it remains the same. Next, what I'm going to do is add some text into it. So I'm going to click on the text tab here, and I'm going to type text just because I like it. And the font I'm using right now is Aldo the Apache. Now if you want more fonts, you can go to defont.com, if I can spell that right. And this place has tons and tons of different fonts. So the video I was talking about earlier, that is linked in the description below, so you can check that out. And it has tons and tons of different fonts, as you can see. So let's get back into Photoshop, and as you can see here, I've typed the text and I'm going to click this check mark. Now I'm going to press Ctrl T and then I'm going to hold Shift and resize it, and I can place it wherever I want, and then click on the check mark again. So that's done. So what I usually do is I set the color to white, and then what I do is I right click on the layer, go to blending options, and then add a drop shadow. I usually add it like this, 33 and 50, and keep the opacity on 100 and make sure it's black. And as you can see, the text has like a little black outline outside it, so that really looks good. And then the final thing you have to do is you have to add an image to your background. So I'm gonna go to Google Images. So in Google Images, I'm gonna type game controller, game controller and PNG, so that there is no background for the image itself. So what PNG means is that you have no background for the image, you have just the image and no background. So I like this one right here. So it's gonna load up, and as you can see, it has a checkered background, which means it's a PNG image. And then I'm gonna click on View Image, right click and Save Image As, save it. Then I'm gonna go back to Photoshop, File, Open. Then I'm gonna search for the image. Yeah, it's right here. So I'm gonna click on that. Then I'm gonna select the Move tool and then bring it to this section right here. Now I'm gonna click on Ctrl T and I'm gonna resize it by holding Shift. Yeah, that looks good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the check mark and right click on the layer, go to blending options, then drop shadow 33 and size to maybe 100. Yeah, that looks awesome. And now as you can see, your thumbnail is finished. And the final thing you have to do is go to File, Save As, and make sure you save it as a JPEG or JPG image, so it's not in the Photoshop version, and your custom thumbnail is done. So that wraps up for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, then be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And if this happens to be the first video that you've seen by me, then be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any video from me. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.